Welcome to this eBay Masterclass where we're going to be talking about how to go full time and actually turn this side hustle into a full-fledged business. So, we're going to be covering many things in this masterclass, and we're going to start by laying a foundation. And I'm going to be taking you step by step on how to exactly build a six-figure eBay business by just selling pre owned clothing. This is something I've been doing for the past 3 years full time, and I want to be able to just give back and teach everything that I've learned to you as you go along your reselling journey. Maybe this is something that you just want to do part time. A lot of the principles are still going to apply. So, we're going to be going over step by step, deep diving each process. And I want to be able to just bring as much value as I can to you guys to be able to help that person that may be stuck at that 9 to 5 job or actually wants to become a self business owner. We're also going to be touching on the future of reselling and the future of eBay, going over why it's good to start now so we can capitalize on what is to come in the future. So let's jump right into the computer here and start laying this foundation. All right, so welcome to the party. We are going to be going over quite a bit, so I suggest grabbing a pen and paper, and we're going to be deep diving all of the things that I've learned and why this is important to you and why we need to really learn a few basic principles before we even get started. So, exactly how to go full time as a reseller. You clicked on the video, you want to know how. Well, here I'm going to break down the process that helped me achieve over $400,000 in sales on eBay. Yes, you heard that correctly. And this was by selling pre owned clothing. So, by working from a minimum wage job, just 4 years ago, got laid off in 2020, and a fire burnt down our house in 2020 to the following year starting to resell on eBay full time. So we're going to be breaking down how exactly this happened, why it's relevant to you, and why it all matters, right? So how reselling changed my life, how it can change yours. It's a beautiful time to be alive, everybody. The value that e-commerce brings, to be able to work from home, to be able to get time back with your family, and be able to actually own your time and be able to dictate what you do with your time. That's what e-commerce opens up, not just with eBay, but selling on other platforms, whether it's Whatnot or Amazon. That's the thing that I valued the most. And maybe you value something similar. Maybe you're here and you want some of your time back. Well, let's go through how reselling changed my life and dive deeper into that. So, like I said and touched on briefly, in 2020 was that mind shift and life change for me. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. We have 4 kids. During that time in 2020, I was laid off, and that was right around the pandemic, right? And that was fine. I was reading books, kind of preparing for change. I had read a book called The Benefits and Principles of Change by Dr. Miles Monroe right when that happened. And then a couple months later, our house had burnt down in the Holiday Farm fire. So what maybe could be seen as a tragedy ended up actually being a blessing in hindsight. So, reading that book could not have come at a better time. We ended up launching our eBay reselling business at the start of 2021 from watching several YouTube videos, just like yourself, watching me here. You're going to get inspired by other people that are doing this at a full time level. For me, it was Mel back from burnout about 3 years ago now, and she was selling books. It was inspiring to see people sell used items and make a full time living. And I thought to myself, if they can do it, then I surely could. You're seeing me here as if I went to some schooling or degree and got some specialized knowledge to do this. And I didn't. Went to YouTube University, started researching brands and developing a knowledge base to be able to know exactly what to pick up and what to sell and how to sell it, how to price it. It just took starting, right? So the first year for us was a bumpy ride. We started selling DVDs, books, video games, and just really felt like, it was really inconsistent, right? We didn't really know exactly what we were going to pick up when we went outsourcing. So we didn't really get the results we wanted. Listing every day, sourcing quality product, and etc. It took a full year to get those systems and processes dialed in. Just developing the speed in which it takes to get listings done took a while. But I didn't do this alone. I joined masterminds, I had joined paid groups, I had one-on-one coaching, and all this helped tremendously. It really helped propel me forward as far as getting the mindset that I could do it. But I know that if I did not apply what I was learning, then it would all be for nothing. And then we started to niche down. After our first year of selling random things, we got random results. So we picked men's and women's clothing, not because we love men's and women's clothing, but we knew that we could successfully source the amount of clothing we needed to go full time. There's an abundance of clothing around us where we live here in Oregon. So that is when things started to take off. I knew exactly what to buy and why I was buying it. I noticed that once we niched down, the listing process and the photo process and the shipping process all became seamless because we were able to know exactly how to ship items, how to photograph items, and listing items. We'll go into this deeper, but I sell similar off of the own items in my store because I pick up similar items, the same brands, the same styles. So creating a whole new listing from scratch is not needed anymore when I can sell similar off of previous items I've listed. That is the small hack if you haven't heard that before, but that is going to help you in your listing process. So I was able to grow at a much faster rate just on my own. And in that first year full time, we did over $178,000 in sales on eBay, which was awesome. That was the proof of concept that helped us realize, oh, this is doable and we can make more than the average median income doing this. That's beautiful. This is possible. Gave us hope. So it was life changing. And I knew from then on, I wanted to be my own boss and I wanted to continue to grow the business. I had no special background. I have no diploma, nothing special about me, just a regular guy looking to provide for my family and 4 kids. So, just like me, I know you too are capable of great things and have the ability to go full time on eBay. It just takes a few steps to get there, which is why we're going over this today to be able to break it all down more on a fundamental, practical level. Like, what are the exact steps to get there? We can talk about it. I could show you how to do it, but it's like how to do this. How do we do this? And I want to promise to you that if you go through this whole masterclass, you're going to be coming away with some tools. And these tools are meant to equip you for you to use them in your business so you can start doing this on a full-time level as well. Now we're going to be going through the path to get there. How? How do we do this? So showing more proof of concept, we did 178,000 first year full time. In our first year doing it, like off and on part time, we did about $30,000 in sales. Our second year full time, about 168,000 in sales, but we were selling also on Poshmark at that time, and we did another 12,000 in addition to that. And then this year we're at 54,000, hoping to end the year with Poshmark and eBay and maybe doing a little bit of whatnot at around 170,000 is a good projected target for the end of this year. So now I talked about how it changed my life and how it impacted me, but we're talking about how it can change your life. How is this going to transform your life? So the average median income in the United States is $59,000 a year. And that's trading your time for wages. I can tell you this, that now more than ever, you can generate that type of income by reselling on eBay and get your time back. Nothing is more fulfilling than managing and running your own business. So why should you run someone else's? Because you have more direct control over that amount of time and income that you want to make on eBay. So if you're looking for a change in life, then this masterclass is for you, and you are watching it for a reason. You are wanting to learn more, you're wanting to get better, you're wanting to master the basics. And that's what we're going to be going over too as well. We need to talk about one of the most important things before we do what we do is we need to ask why we're doing it in the first place. Because if we don't, we're going to end up working so hard in this business, and then we're going to come years later and quit because we didn't know why we did what we did. So we need to understand, why are we doing this? For me, it's looking at my kids every day, seeing my family grow up, and that's the reason why I want to be able to provide a future with me being present in their life. And not saying there's anything wrong with a job or working full time at a business that you love, but for me and what I value, I want my time freedom with my family. And eBay and reselling and working from home enabled that. That was my why, and I'm reminded by it every day. So, why am I doing this? I have been where you are before. I wanted to build a sustainable business where I could work from home and provide for my family. I wanted my time freedom back. My main purpose and passion in life is helping others unlock and release their potential. Through eBay, this is possible to break free from that 9 to 5 and build the business you want to build around your lifestyle. See, I'm much more passionate about helping people resell and get going with e commerce than I am actually doing eBay. It's great to sell on eBay, but it's not like as fulfilling as helping people make an extra couple $1,000s a month. So that is why I'm doing this and helping and trying to give as much value as I can away for free, because I have felt where you have been. I have been on the other side of reading books in my lunch break just to be able to get better skills and get better at finance and management. And little did I know that fire and losing my job in 2020 was going to be the shift that I needed to go all in and actually take action. So reselling is great, but yeah, nothing is more fulfilling to me than helping you get on track with what you want to accomplish. So we need to ask, why are you doing this? You need to ask it. You must figure out your why. The stronger your why is, the more resilient you will be during the downturn times. As you know, there is many ups and downs in life. They're called seasons, right? So the more clear you are on your why, nothing else will matter. You will know why you do what you do. We need to figure out a crucial step that many people that even do this full time yet to accomplish, and that is a business plan. We need to plan our business. We need to plan our ideal business. So, a great quote that I love that's always resonated with me is that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Remember that. You gotta have a plan. And it doesn't mean you need to stay so close to that plan that if it doesn't hit on the mark exactly, you go crazy. It's just having a plan is better than having no plan, but be aware that the plan will change. I guarantee you that it will change. So, the first thing to do is create a business plan and an outline or a roadmap of what you want your business to look like. How many hours you plan on working every day, how many listings you want to be doing every day, how many times do you need to go out sourcing every week. You got to start brainstorming and using those ideas of what's the ideal business look like for you, and then start working towards it. So, this will give your business structure as you pursue those goals. Having a plan is far better than having no plan, and this is a non negotiable. You must have a plan for the business for it to succeed. So, writing out a business plan, I would suggest using tools like ChatGPT, Claude, using those AI, chat bots to be able to write up a plan. At least give you some outline and some structure. And if you don't know how to use one, look it up on YouTube, because it's going to be able to guide you along the way. People think, oh man, I got to write up a business plan. We live in a totally different world now with access to AI to be able to help you along the way. Is it going to be perfect? No, but it can get you 80% of the way there. And then you can just kind of fix the things that you see that need fixing in that business plan. So I'd highly suggest using things like ChatGPT to help you write out a business plan for your life. Another thing that people tend to forget is you need to set metrics for your business. And this is going to range from person to person. Like, my metrics won't be for everyone. And just like your metrics that you set in your business won't be for everyone. So, what I'm talking about when I say the word metrics for eBay in particular is average sales price. So, the amount that you want to sell items for, in the sell through rate, the time in which it takes for these items to sell. So everyone will have different metrics set in their business. I do not source any items that are under 30% sell through rate in my business. And I don't want to make less than $10 profit per item. So this way I know I can generally sell that item in under 1 year and make a minimum profit of $10. Does this always happen on every sale? No. Does that happen on every single item that I pick up? No. But I'm just saying having some hard cutoffs is going to help guide you along the way. There's items that I pick up that I know that will take a year to sell, but the item is $5 and it sells for 500. I'm going to pick it up. This has a lot to do with the amount of space that you have. Not everyone has a warehouse or a storage unit. So you really need to figure out what you're going to allow into your business and set that hard cutoff. So this will vary depending on where you live and how many quality items you can source. So I have a 24 by 40 foot warehouse and I have plenty of space, so I do not mind holding on to items for a year. If you have a smaller space, you will need to source items with faster sell through rate so you do not run out of space. By setting hard cutoffs for your metrics, you will now exactly know what to source and what to leave behind. Do not get sloppy in this area because you do not want a store of 100,000 items and just make one sale per day. And if you do a little looking around on eBay, there's a lot of those stores, not with 100,000, but let's say 10,000 items. They sell 2 items a day. You don't want that. That's the exact opposite of what we're doing in this training. Is we want you to have a highly efficient, well-optimized store that sells through as many items as you're listing per day. That is the goal. I list 20 items a day. I sell more than 20 items a day. That is the ideal structure that you want. You never want to be listing much more than what you're selling. You don't want to be listing 50 a day and you're only selling 5, unless you have a huge warehouse to contain all those items. And like I said, everyone's business is going to look different. So growth is an outcome of input. Do not focus on getting bigger, but rather focus on getting better. This is the most important part because if you think about it, what is the difference between a person that walks into a thrift store and they can extract $5,000 worth of value in the same person that walks into the same store, but then they only extract $500 worth of value? What's the difference? Is that they got more knowledge. They did the research. They worked on themselves. So they were knowledgeable for when they went into that thrift store, they were able to identify what was profitable and what was not. So focus on getting better, and product research is going to be a nonstop thing that happens in your business. There's no one-time research and you're done. You're always going to be researching, whether it's clothing or whatnot. The goal. What is the goal of this whole thing? What is the goal of this masterclass? I want to talk about why this is important because many people have no goal. They don't set a goal, they don't plan for a goal. I want to be able to set this straight and set it forward. It's for transformation. The whole goal, and there's the main reason why, is to transform, to be able to put you into action for transformation. And there's probably only 1%, 2%, maybe 5% of people watching that are actually going to take the information and use it. So information is knowledge, right? But it's actually all about the application, which we call as applied information, which is generally called wisdom, right? We need to be wise about what we're learning, about what we're reading, about what we're listening to, and actually apply these things in our business. That's going to allow for transformation. There's so much information out there, but how many people are actually taking it and applying it? Very few. So the goal is for transformation. The goal by listening to this is for you to make a change in your life and to actually make a difference in the world. So the principles, the concepts, and the systems in this course will equip you with the tools needed to far exceed that average median salary of $59,000 a year. It is possible. The goal is to help millions of people around the world with zero previous business experience to get started, to run and grow an e-commerce business, and that is through the platform eBay. I want to make it easy and I want to make it a fun experience. I'm building this course for people that are closest to me. I've had people at my church reach out, "Hey, I want to get into doing what you're doing. I want to figure out how to resell to make a couple extra thousand a month." An older couple that is close to retiring came up and they go, "Hey, this Social Security isn't going to cover my living expenses. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Is reselling a possible thing?" And that's why I'm creating this course. It's for the people that are actually in my life and the people that are around me and people like yourself that are also in the same position. Like, hey, I also need to make some extra money and I need to do it soon. So I want to help them start making an income online. And I really do believe eBay is that opportunity. It's the second biggest platform for reselling in the world. There's Amazon and then there's eBay, right? eBay is that opportunity. And I feel for those people that also want to make an extra side income and also start their own business. So that's why that's the goal, is to help people like you. So we're going to talk about the vision. The vision is going to dictate what we do, right? The vision keeps us on the straight and narrow. We know exactly what to do, what not to do, because we are guided by a vision. And the vision of this class is I want to see massive amounts of new eBay resellers succeed. As a result of this course and learning all the principles that we're going to learn today, so I want to see people who have changed their life by implementing some of these management principles to be able to live the life they want to live. And this should give you a proof of concept and evidence is that ThreadUp, a big secondhand producer in America, does a market report every year. This is a recent report they just released that the global secondhand apparel market is expected to reach 350 billion by 2028. And you could see currently it is only 230 billion. So an extra 33 plus percent growth here in the next couple years. That is amazing. And you could see that they say the growth is 3 times faster in the secondhand market than the retail market, which is an amazing thing. That is crazy. So if you're thinking this is saturated or it's too late, there's many more people that are looking to buy secondhand clothing than you actually think. And this is backed by data. Take it for what you will, but I wanted to bring that up and make sure that you get that. And all of the resources that we're going to be going over are going to be linked down below. And you're going to be able to read this report and have it saved for you as a resource. There's much more data that goes into that report. And I need your help. I need your help. I want you in this vision. I want you to be part of this vision. We need to have that abundance mindset. And looking at the chart above, there's enough for everybody. We can change millions of people's lives with this information, but I cannot do it alone. I need your help. So the help that I need is just by you sharing this course, sharing the community we're building on this platform school, and be able to reach thousands of other people that need help and need it for free because we're giving all this away. So who is this for? I think it's important to state who this is for and who it is not. I truly believe it's for the people that are part-time, that want to go full-time, or that are doing it maybe every now and then and don't even do it part-time. They're just selling here and there, more like a hobbyist seller, and they want to do it full-time. Those are the people we're trying to reach. The people that are actually wanting to do this and build something big. So like we said, it's for people who are doing part-time, full-time, and they want to go all in. if you are already selling full time, there's going to be some valuable principles here that are going to help you because there's maybe some things that you're doing full time that you aren't doing that you should be. And I wanted to go over some of the things that help me in my business that enable me to do this on a full time level. So, why should you listen to me, right? I could be any guy, I could be just some person making 10 sales a year, not going to really have a lot of proof of concept at that point. But the fact that I'm currently reselling full time and have been for the last 3 years and supporting my family should give you confidence that you can also do this. And the likely outcome will be you becoming a 6-figure eBay reseller. It will just take some guidance and adherence to these key principles. So, we need to touch on principles because they are the foundation builder of any business. If you adhere to principles, you will find success. If you don't, then it's going to be difficult for you, right? And we want to go over some of the biggest principles that have made an impact for me in my business. They can either make you succeed or fail in any business and in anything in life. Principles are like keys, and what do keys do? They open doors. So principles are like keys. They're going to help you get on track. So being guided by a set of principles. So do you ever wonder why people that join masterminds and groups and all these coaching clubs and some find success while others do not? It just takes that right mindset. To be able to accomplish your goals and your dreams, you need the right mindset. And very few people do. So, a great quote by Henry Ford is, if you think you can or cannot, then you're right. And that's a beautiful saying because a lot of people think they can't, and then they're just stuck in that mindset. You need to have the abundance, positive, faithful mindset. What is the difference between a scarcity mindset, which is usually a fearful mindset, and a faithful, positive mindset? Is one believes that their best is behind them, and the other believes that their best is still yet to come. So we need to have that positive abundance mindset and know that the better days are ahead. And this is so key for you guys getting started, the right mindset, especially with the ups and downs in the economy and business and on eBay. You have the right mindset and you can get through it. So, number 2 is management. Whatever you mismanage, you will lose. This is a key principle. Everyone wants that comparison and they want to compare how they're doing to others. Never do that. Compare yourself to yourself. So, do not compare yourself to others. The most important aspect of your business is to not grow too fast. You just need to grow at your own pace and compare yourself along your journey year over year, month over month, because we are all on a different journey and we're all trying to accomplish different things when it comes to reselling. So, principles protect purpose and potential. If you are guided by a set of principles, your business will flourish and you will as a person. The only one that can make the difference is you. I can only help you so much, but it's really up to you to get the job done and apply the keys and principles that will work for you and your business. Starting your own business from scratch is one of the hardest things to do and accomplish. But with this community and this class, it will put you on the fast track as we all grow and learn together. The basics. We need to learn the basics. What are the basics to this business? And why are they important? Because it's through mastering these basics is actually what's going to build the foundation for your business. Don't focus on the 1,000 different processes that happen in a reselling business. Only focus on the things that move the needle forward. And those are the basics. So this is not a complicated business, as I have laid out the systems and processes to run a successful 6-figure reselling business, but you must master these basic principles. So in niche, you've heard it tons of times. You need to figure out what you want to sell and then master it, because it's good to be an everything seller. Nothing wrong with that. But I found that it's easier to be a 6-figure reseller when you master a specific niche. Why? Because all the things that come with mastering a niche will be easier. Number one being market research. So you will be able to determine pricing of particular items and master the market. You will know specific items. You will know exactly what to price them at. You know exactly how the sell through rate is. If you can master clothing in particular, you are on your way to building a huge business. Customer service, while it's often left out, you want to be able to have and deliver the best results possible. You want to have free returns. You want to have same day handling time, and you want to be fully transparent with the items that you're selling. We're not trying to get rich quick and kick the customer to the curb. We're trying to be building a business that is self sustaining for the long run and building a customer base that comes back into our business and makes multiple purchases because they had a great experience. And this is how we're going to outcompete the competition. Listing habit. This is a basic principle that needs to be mastered. This is the main priority of the business. If nothing gets listed, then nothing will sell. You got to have a listing habit. And that's why it goes back to the business plan of figuring out, what does your daily listings look like? What does your listing habit look like? And put that pen to paper and write that out. Do you see yourself listing 50 items a day, 100 items a day, 10? You need to figure that out. So, sourcing schedule. You got to determine your weekly route or daily route and stay consistent to get consistent results. You got to develop a thrift route, a sourcing route, and be able to customize it around your schedule and maybe around the discount days so you can optimize that schedule so you can get and source the best items possible. So, those are the 5 basics that I would say that need to be mastered to be able to have a successful resale business. There's many more, but without mastering these 5, you're going to have a hard time. We're going to go into schedule and why it's important. You would be surprised on how many people that are doing this full time and yet don't have a schedule. A schedule can create such consistency in your business, and people will take you a lot more serious when you have a set schedule. Without a schedule, then when do you plan to get things done? Tasks cannot be done haphazardly. You need a system in place to know what to do and when to do it. Otherwise, becoming a full time reseller will be extremely difficult. What schedule does for us is it helps prioritize tasks. We can identify the most important tasks that contribute to your business goals and prioritize them accordingly. This will ensure that you allocate your time and energy to the tasks that matter most. For me, it's getting those basic principles down, the basics, the listings, the photos, the customer service. I prioritize those tasks because if I don't, my business will struggle. Time blocking. Divide your day into blocks of time dedicated to specific tasks or areas of your business. This technique can help you stay focused and minimize distractions. So you've heard of time blocking. Now you need to just block the times out of your current lifestyle to be able to make these listings get done, photos get done, and sourcing get done. Trust me, this will help you get some consistency in your business. You want to tackle those challenging tasks early. You want to schedule your most demanding or challenging tasks for the beginning of the day when your energy levels and focus are at their peak. There is a great book called At Your Best by Casey Newhoff. And that book basically breaks down scientifically that us humans are only at our best for 2 to 3 hours every day. Some people are at their best in the evening, some people are at their best in the morning, and some people fall a little bit in between the two. So you need to figure out, you as a person, when are you at your best, and put those tasks that are most important during that time frame. For me, I'm an early bird. I like to be up early, so I prioritize my listings, my shipping, my photos, all in that time. I found that if I did my listings towards the end of the day, I would, number one, make mistakes, and I would be a lot slower and sluggish. And that's different for everyone, but that's just how I go about applying that principle. You need to know when you're at your best and make your schedule around that. So, batching similar tasks. So, group similar tasks together and schedule them consecutively. This approach can help you maintain momentum and increase efficiency. I can give you an example of pooling and packing orders. So, when you pool the orders, you ship them out right away. That's a common one. Another one is photography and listings. I put those together because I never want to take photos of something and then do my listings days later. I want to have it fresh, top of mind when I do the photos. I want to be able to get the listings done right after. So that's how I group those tasks together. There's many other tasks that you could do as well. Um, but those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head. You want to batch those. You never want to have those hanging out. You never want to pull orders and then ship them out days later. You never want to take photos and do those listings later. The sooner, the better. So allow for flexibility. While having a schedule is important, it's equally crucial to remain flexible. Unexpected opportunities or challenges may arise, and you should be prepared to adapt your schedule accordingly. So, this is the key of a schedule, but also recognize that things change. Your car runs out of gas, you get a flat tire, you get stuck in traffic, things change, and so should your schedule if needed when that happens. We are human. Life happens, right? But the schedule is going to help you stay on track. And also keep your schedule up to date, because what worked for your schedule a year ago, it might not work now. So you always need to be updating your schedule, as do I. Schedule breaks. So incorporate breaks in your schedule to allow for rest, rejuvenation, and clear thinking. Breaks can help you maintain productivity and prevent burnout. So, just for an example, I work on my eBay business about 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday is more like yard sales, estate sales, just for fun. But you got to recognize how much you're working and then figure out when you're not working. Like, don't be working randomly through the day. You got to have a cutoff point. My cutoff point is I'm basically done with work by 5 o'clock. I'm done with everything. I don't want to be out in the warehouse. I don't want to be thinking about sourcing. Like, I'm done. So you too should have a hard cutoff time on when you're done, and also scheduling in like a lunch break, time for you to step away and take a break. For me, it's a 12 o'clock is my halfway point break. And I found scheduling tasks after 12 o'clock usually are less mind intensive tasks. Usually I'll do more sourcing later in the day, because for me, it's more meditating. It's very relaxing. I'm not like using my brain like I would when I'm doing my listings. So figure it out, what's going to work for you and when you can schedule your breaks in. So review and adjust. So regularly review your schedule and assess it for effectiveness. Make adjustments as needed to ensure that it aligns with your evolving goals and priorities. Leverage tools. So we want to utilize productivity tools such as calendars, task managers, and time tracking app to help create and manage and stick to your schedule. So a good thing, like to time yourself. I think that's a really underrated and hidden thing, to just set the timer when you're doing your time, when you're doing your listings, when you're doing your photos. Set your timer so you know exactly how long it's taking for you to do tasks, and what can be timed and tracked can be measured, and what can be measured we can improve upon. So it may take you a while to do these tasks now, but if you're tracking the time frame in which it takes to get that done, and you're getting faster, then that should give you confidence that you're getting better. So time tracking can help hugely. I know there's some people that have like a big clock on their desk to time activities. That can really help. Also, there's a thing called Parkinson's law, that usually what you set the time frame on in which to do a task, that's the amount of time it's going to take. So if I say it's going to take me 30 days to clean my house, it's going to take me 30 days to clean my house. But if you say it's going to take me 1 day to clean my house, then I got 1 day to clean the house. So make sure you're not giving yourself too much time. Give yourself a reasonable amount of time to get those tasks done. And you'd be surprised. Push yourself and you can get these things done. Like, oh, I got to do 30 listings today. Don't say it's going to take me all day. Say, I need to get this done in 2 hours. And then you'll be surprised on how fast and how quickly you can accomplish that. So you can look it up, Parkinson's Law. It's a real thing, a real principle. So by following these principles and creating a well-structured schedule, entrepreneurs can better manage their time, increase productivity, and stay focused on the tasks that drive their business forward. And you can check out my schedule here. It's very simple. You can copy it, whatever you want to do. Building that schedule is key. This is just a Google Calendar schedule. And this is roughly what my schedule looks like. Doesn't look too crazy. Um, you can see I have my sourcing. I can get 80% of my sourcing done for the week, about 100 items in those 2 days. I need 140 items every week. So usually I can find those on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the main ones that I need to schedule in are Tuesday and Wednesday because if I don't do those sourcing days, I'm not able to find the items that I need. So take a screenshot, whatever you need to do, use this as an outline and schedule the things that you need to get done in your business. So, sourcing, the most important part of the business. This is the lifeblood of the business. This is how the business operates. Your reselling life will be dictated by your sourcing life. This is key. I've experienced it myself. I've bought wholesale. I've bought in bulk pallets. I've bought in wholesale from other resellers. And it just seemed like it never worked out because I was trying to take a shortcut. I was trying to just get items easily to me without me putting in the work. And it wasn't until I changed everything, changed my listing goal, changed everything, how I wanted to spend my money for sourcing every month, is when things started to really take off. Not saying there's anything wrong with buying in bulk, but when I changed how I sourced, my business improved dramatically. And that was picking each individual item for me in my business. So, we're going to discover some of the better strategies for sourcing profitable inventory through thrifting, yard sales, retail and online arbitrage, and liquidation pallets. There's money to be made everywhere. We just need to figure out what's going to work for us. So, we're going to learn tips to spot valuable brand names, negotiate deals, and to maximize your resale opportunities. So, one thing about learning valuable brand names is don't be afraid to just put YouTube stuff on or podcast stuff on in the background, whether it's what sold videos or thrift hauls, to be able to familiarize yourself with those brands, what they sell for, why are these other resellers picking it up. That's going to be a great way to add value to yourself while you work. Don't just watch TV while you work. Listen to things that are actually going to give you an education in what you want to sell. So, thrifting and thrift stores. So, tips for finding local thrift stores, building relationships with staff, getting alerts for new inventory, and spotting valuable brand names and products. Knowledge is key here. Always be studying BOLO brand lists so you know what to pick up. And that's why I've made it a priority to pay a virtual assistant to be able to bring you guys weekly and monthly BOLO brands. I'm doing this studying just as much as you are. I want to be able to give my VA 100, 200, 300 brands a month, and they start checking the sell through rates on eBay, and they can give me the data and I can share it with you guys. That's the whole point. I think that's really valuable, but it's only valuable if you actually apply the knowledge that we're giving out. And doing research is good by yourself, and I suggest doing it that way first. But also at the same time, not a lot of people have a lot of time because they're working their job, they're working part time, and they just want the BOLO brands in a curated list. So that's going to be a great way for you to actually speed up in which the rate and that you learn, so you can actually just get the information, save it to your phone, and kind of reference as you go out sourcing. That's the whole point of the BOLO brands, the be on the lookout brands. But I want to be able to bring that to the group for free to add some knowledge to you guys. Yard sales and estate sales, garage sales. So, how to locate sales and the best times of day to go, negotiation tactics. So, we got to learn those things if we want to be successful at yard sales and estate sales. It can be a great way to get started because the cost is so low, but it is really difficult to only source inventory from these places because they are so inconsistent. I think there's great to start if you're just listing 1 to 5 items a day. But once you start listing more than 10 items a day, it's going to be harder for you to find product. I know that I can go to 10 yard sales. One out of those 10 might be great, and the other 9, I maybe find 5 items. So I'm listing 20 items a day. So I really only go to yard sales and estate sales for fun. So, but it's a good way to start because the cost is low. And, if you make a mistake on a purchase, it's fine. It's not damaging. So retail and online arbitrage. So these are basics of sourcing clearance in discount items at chain stores like Kohl's, TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Ross. If you've seen previous videos of mine, you know that I've picked up a lot of stuff from Kohl's and the Nike outlet. It is a great way to source and diversify your sourcing, but the cost is much higher versus thrift stores or yard sales. So you need to make sure that you're sourcing items that sell quickly so you can get a faster return on your investment. And I really wouldn't look into getting this until you are more established with your business, because it does cost more money. I'm paying $20 to $30 per pair of shoe. So I really need to make sure I'm not spending more than 50% of my cash flow coming back for the month. So it's a great way to diversify, but I think starting there, unless you have money saved up to invest, you can quickly go out of business and be in a negative cash flow state, which is not the goal. So liquidation pallets. So there are pros and cons of buying surplus and wholesale. Um, these are usually customer returns by the pallet from liquidators. It can be good, but in my honest opinion, it is really hit or miss and cannot be the only way we source. It can be helpful when looking to scale. The only place that I've been able to find online now is raghouse.com. They do a great job at showing exactly what is in the items. Like each bulk purchase comes with a YouTube video of them going through the items. And typically the items can range between $4 an item to up to $12 an item. Yes, they have Patagonia, Carhartt, Nike. You're going to want to check them out. They're a local company. There's a couple distribution centers on the West Coast and East Coast. So shipping won't be terrible. So yeah, check those out if you are looking to make sourcing a little easier. But it's still going to be work. And it's probably going to raise your cost of goods more than you would like if you were just going to the Goodwill outlet or sourcing items individually. So, more sourcing strategies, wholesalers, distributors. So, finding a legitimate wholesaler with good terms in product categories you sell. So, importance of developing relationships and ordering in bulk. Like I said, it is good to have as you look and grow your business, but the quality can be inconsistent and requires a ton of processing. So you can reach out to local thrift stores to see if they sell items in bulk or by the pallet. I did something similar about a year ago. I reached out to St. Vincent de Paul, a major thrift store in America, and I just really went to the back of their store and they had a processing facility, and I basically just talked to the manager saying, hey, this is my business, here's what I do you sell individual bulk bales? And they do. They sell a 1,500 pound bulk bale at like 17 cents a pound. It came to like $250 per bale, which is good in theory, but I'm a single person in my business, so I'm going to need to process all that. So if you are down to do that, you can find great stuff, but also it's so inconsistent. Some bales would have 50% kids' clothes. Some bales would have more clothes with stains and holes than previous bales. So I think that it's good, but also there's a lot of headache that comes with it. So just be sure you're really looking into the legitimate wholesaler that actually provides good product. St. Vincent is just an example. There's other out there that produce much better quality. So you're just going to want to look into it, and they all provide different options. So maximizing profits. So how can we do this? So in each area, we're going to emphasize strategies for sourcing product efficiently at the lowest cost possible to maximize profit margins when reselling. This can be by going to estate sales and yard sales. And another one you've heard before is the Goodwill outlet or the Goodwill bins. When you first get started, it can be such a low cost of goods. It is okay to make a mistake when we buy these items with a low ASP or low sell through rate. But this is also important that we really need to focus on picking up items that actually have a good sell-through rates and good ASP by looking up each individual item. So the Goodwill bins is like your learning ground. And not everyone has access to one, but if you do have one within about an hour away, I highly recommend you go at least once to see if you like it. Not a lot of people do, but some people do great there. And you really got to source the items at the bins or wherever you're at and look up each individual item. This is a basic principle. This is how you get good at brand knowledge and brand awareness. But say you found 50 items at the bins that you don't look up and you bring them home and you end up not selling them because they had bad sell through, they had bad ASP, and you should have never bought them to begin with. So the more that you can source from the bins and look up each individual item, go, hey, this one meets my metrics, this one does not. You're going to be able to really maximize your business and be able to sell as much as you're listing. I guess the good part of it all is that if you make a mistake at a yard sale, at the bins, or buying wholesale, is the good part is you didn't spend too much money. So whereas if you're doing retail or online arbitrage, if you buy something that actually ended up being terrible, you're locking up your money for that much longer. So that's where the Goodwill bins and buying more bulk comes in handy. But you just got to be careful and be aware. So, implementing systems and processes. What are those? So, sourcing. You need to figure out how this is going to look for your business. So, what I did was I developed a thrift store route based on the discount days and structured my schedule around that. Having a developed thrift route you hit every week will hold you accountable and will increase the chances you are able to source the amount of product you need to list weekly. This is crucial. Everybody, I suggest to you, go on Google Maps, type in thrift store, do a hour radius, and start mapping out a route that's going to work. As you get familiar with that route, you're going to know, hey, the discount days are on Wednesday and Tuesday here. I need to develop my route on those days. So that's what I do, and that's how I can maximize the money I spend. So I need 140 items every week, but how am I only able to spend $500 to $600 every week on 140 items? It's because I go on those discount days. So if I don't go on the discount days, those 140 items that I source could be $1,000, which I can't put into my budget right now because that's going to really clog up the cash flow. So you really never want to spend more than 50% at the most of your weekly cash flow. You really ideally want to keep it around 20%, 25%, and just keep reinvesting back in the business as you grow. You don't want to be spending 80, 90% of your cash flow on inventory every week and you're only making peanuts. You just want to grow it nice and slow and develop a structured sourcing habit and route to be able to maximize the money that you're spending in your business. Listing, another important process. We've touched on it before, but this is a non-negotiable when it comes to our businesses. You get much better results when you list every day versus not. There's already evidence of that all over YouTube. This is the key factor for getting sales. It is better to start with a small listing goal than it is and it's easily achievable versus setting a goal that's too high and not hitting it every day. So start with 5 per day and you can work your way up once your sales increase. And another principle for me is I never want to be increasing my listing goal when it's 50% or more than what I'm selling. So if I'm selling 5 a day and I'm listing 10 a day, then I can start to think, hey, maybe start listing 12 a day, 15 a day. But if I'm only listing 10 a day and selling 2 a day, I'm not going to increase my listing goal until my sell through rate increases. And you will know that by deep diving into your numbers under the traffic and the sales tab more, which we can get into later in the class. But you're going to notice that the better items that you pick up, you're going to start increasing in sales. So that comes with knowledge, working on yourself, brand research. And the more that you do that, then your sell through rate is going to increase. You're going to start selling more items. That's going to give you the key uh, sign to be able to increase your listing goal. Because I get that question pretty often. People always want to know, when should I start listing more? I would say not until you're selling at least 50% of what you're listing every day, if your budget allows. So, order processing. itemizing incoming inventory through an inventory management system. So I use a sequential SKU system for all my inventory. It helps track and identify when items sell. This is key as you never want to misplace items that are listed on eBay and you cannot find them when they are ordered. This will get your store shut down quickly. And this is what I'm talking about when we are unorganized and we're just flying by the hip. We want to be able to know when items sell and be able to find that item. Because if we start canceling items for out of stock option, that's one of the worst defects other than a Vero that you can get on your account. And it just takes a few of canceling for out of stock option to get your account from top rated to below standard. And we don't want that. So we really need to have some management in our inventory system. So when items sell, we know we can find them. Shipping. So we need to determine shipping service and what we want to use depending on what we're selling and where we want to be delivering our items. So printing labels through a thermal printer is a nice option, but it is not necessary to start. I ship my items every morning at 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, and I would highly recommend same day handling time or one business day handling time. Make sure you're pulling your items in the correct order to make the shipping process seamless. So as the orders come in on eBay, that's the order I pull them in, and I put them in order in a long box, and then I go onto my bulk eBay shipping screen and I'm able to just pull each order as it comes in on eBay so I don't get them mixed up. Everyone's system is different, but that's how I do it. You also need to figure out when you're shipping your items out. Are you going to do it same day? Are you going to do one business day handling time? I will just leave you with this, that eBay is trying to replicate Amazon. And what is Amazon known for? For same day or fast shipping. So the sooner you can get your items out, the more competitive advantage that you will have over other resellers on the platform. So something to keep in mind there. All right. So, standard operating procedures. This is the foundation of any business. SOPs. It's what we help put together in the community. And we're going to have multiple courses and classes on standard operating procedures, and specifically ones that I do in my business to help you guys with yours. So, this is the basis by which your business operates. You cannot have a successful business if you have no SOPs. These are put in place to achieve a particular outcome. Everyone will have a different procedure to achieve different outcomes. So, an SOP for inventory management, what does that look like? Sourcing schedule, what is the SOP for that? Listing habit, processing orders, product research. We need to have an SOP for all 5 of these things. We need to, because if we want to grow and scale this business and we want to hire these processes out, then we will have a directory and a guidebook to be able to train future employees. All of these processes will vary, but it is vital you develop an SOP for these inputs. The sooner you do, then the more structure you will have in your business, which will dictate the outcome of your results. What gets measured gets tracked, and what gets tracked can be improved upon. So we really need to figure out all of the SOPs for those 5 and develop more of them. Like if you're planning on hiring a virtual assistant to do your listings, you want to have an SOP for how that process looks like so they don't keep asking you questions on how things should be done. You want to have already an SOP in place so they have something to refer to. It'd be much easier during the training process. So, standardizing operations, customer service. So, we want to have response templates for common inquiries like order status, product questions, returns and refunds. And all of this has already been done. It can be found in the group under the resources tab. You can download the PDF and use those responses. It will save you some time. And the sooner you respond to your customer, the better, as eBay tracks this metric for efficiency. Also, responding to offers and watchers as soon as you can. This helps with your store activity. You'd be surprised on how many sellers take days to respond to a question, take days to respond to an offer. So, the sooner you can have that top of mind and get onto it, you're going to increase the activity in your store. So, accounting. how and when to record expenses in for revenue streams in the accounting software. So we want to regularly report in the analysis of these key metrics like cost of goods, profit margins, and etc. So this does not need to happen as often as you think. I do my accounting at the end of each month using a simple spreadsheet, also found in the resources tab. I have a free spreadsheet that you guys can use that's available to you, and you can start tracking these things. I think it's important, but not as important as you think. You don't need to do line by line accounting. You can basically just add up the totals of what you spend every month and what you're making every month and go from there. That's going to be able to track the progress the best in your business. That's what I do. So simple, keep it simple. Don't stress out. I find a lot of people spend more time in their accounting software than they do actually doing the thing. You do need to make it important as far as like, because when tax time comes, you need to make sure that you're profitable in what you're making and make sure you have this documented. But people just kind of stress out so much of getting these numbers put in, for everything that sells. And once you start selling 5-10 items a day, it's going to take up a lot of time to plug in all of these key metrics. So just make sure that you're tracking everything at the end of every month. I think once you go past a month of updating your accounting, it's more stressful. So even do it on a weekly basis, monthly basis. That's going to make it far more manageable for most people. What are the importance of systems and processes? So, having clear, repeatable processes increases efficiency and consistency, and this is critical for growth. This is what we want, right? We want an efficient business that's consistent, and we want it to grow. Well, how do we do that? We need to have systems and processes and standard operating procedures. I can't emphasize this enough. It's so important to document tasks, creating process visuals and videos, and properly training any new staff or independent contractors. I use the app Loom for recording videos of SOPs and how I do my listings, how I price my items, and then that can all be sent to a VA to help me with my business. There's many apps out there. There's also one called Scribe that can help you do a lot of the processes that you do in your business, and it tracks it all and makes an SOP for you. So there's many ways to do it, but that's just kind of what I use. All right, now let's jump into some of the SOPs that I have written for my business. And this is going to be a basic foundation for most resellers that are wanting to get into this full time. So I have a copy in the resources tab down below, and you can kind of make adjustments as you go, but it's basically just going to be a rough start for your business. You can add or take away, but these are the ones that I've set in my business that really move the needle forward and make me actually do the things that I need to do, because if one of these things is left off, then it's really going to hurt my business. So I've used an app to map out some other systems and processes, but this one in particular is going to cover them all, from sourcing, customer service, listing habits, and what all that should look at, and then what entails under each process. So let's jump into it so I can go over them with you. All right, what we got here is sort of a roadmap to your standard operating procedures. We're going to be going over them one by one. I have chosen research as a category, sourcing as a category, photography, listings, shipping, accounting, and customer service. These are the foundation processes that are actually going to move your business forward. And I think that you can add or subtract a few here and there, but these are the ones that help me in my business. I'm always reflecting on what were the things that helped me in my business and what are the things that I cannot do without. And these are the ones here. And let's break them down. Let's go into the most important one that I believe, which is sourcing. So, sourcing is a procedure that if you do not do it, you will not get results, right? So, the first step in the sourcing module is developing a thrift route. You need to do this. And you need to correlate those discount days around this route so you can maximize your profits. And we touched on this earlier, that if I don't do this, my cost of goods goes up. So I need to figure out what days do these thrift stores or wherever you're going that have their best days possible where you can get the best, deepest discounts. So that's the first step in this process. If you don't have a thrift route, your sourcing is going to be inconsistent. Number two is tracking KPIs, key performance indicators. So we need to figure out how many thrift stores we go to equals how many items we source. During the week, I'm tracking how many thrift stores I need to go to how many items I'm able to source from those thrift stores. And then I can get a general idea that if I fail to hit that many thrift stores in a week, then I'm not going to be able to hit my listing goal. So the third one is only source products that meet your metrics and your sell through rate and your average sale price. So do not pick up items that are not going to meet your metrics. This is going to be different for everybody, but this is crucial when first starting out. You do not want to have a thrift store. You do not want to have an eBay store of 1,000 items listed and 10 items sold. So you need to make sure you're getting your metrics in line. Do not overspend. Only source product on a weekly basis. This will help you with cash flow, and this is huge when first starting out. You do not want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars without even creating your first listing yet. You need to make sure that you're just having just enough of a back stock to get you to the next week. And that's what I personally do to this day in the business. I have no back stock other than the next week's inventory ready to be listed. So that's important because we want to be able to maximize cash flow when we first get started. So we want to develop friendships and relationships with the thrift store owners and even with people that are doing the checkout. You want to just be able to develop a relationship with these people, tell them that what you do, and you never know what that could turn into. So yeah, you want to do that. And if you're wanting to like do bulk, it doesn't hurt to ask if they sell pallets or bulk bales, or even if they would be open to sorting particular brands around a brand list for you. So those are all things that you could at least ask and try. If it's a no, that's fine, but at least you tried. Number 6 is yard sales, estate sales, flea markets, consignment stores, online arbitrage, and retail arbitrage. These are all other alternative ways, I would say, to get inventory. I think when you're just starting out, yard sales, estate sales, garage sales, flea markets is great. Flea markets they vary. I mean, you could make a full-time income just off flea markets, but where I live, it's very seasonal for flea markets. So that's why I put them in that category as alternatives, but also great ways to get other inventory. So, and like I said, this is very regional and depends on where you live, but some of these options are going to be greater than others. Like yard sales in California are year round. They're not here in Oregon. So those are some other ways to get going. And these 6 principles and processes within the sourcing procedure are crucial. These are all crucial. These are all huge. And that's what helps propel my business forward. So the next one, we're going to go to photography. So what do we do after we source the items? We typically wash them and then we get them organized and prepped and ready for photos. So we want to organize prep items. So like washing them, getting the stains out, whatever that needs to be prepped, buttoning the buttons. As small as that sound, it's crucial in the process, right? So we want to be able to detag, button up the shirts, wash the items, and stack them in one pile close to your photo station. So by stacking the items as soon as they get out of the dryer or as soon as you get them from the thrift store, it's going to help get out a lot of those wrinkles and get them ready for the photo process. So I just use a cell phone with a lanyard here for photos. Very simple. I know you could barely see it here, but it's a simple Galaxy S22 with a lanyard. I could just put it around my neck and I'm ready for photos. You want to be able to have that. Like I said, I'm linking everything down below in the resources so you can see every single item that I use from my racks, from the boxes, from the tape roller, from the phone that I use. So it's all going to be easy for you to find and just be able to use what I use to hit the ground running. So I use a lint roller very often. I use a fabric shaver very often. I have a yardstick for measurements and also a small pair of scissors ready for any threads or flyaways or anything that needs to be removed with scissors. So you want to make sure you have everything all in one area, because you don't want to be running around like a squirrel trying to get the scissors over there, get the measuring tape over there. That's not going to work, guys. You got to have everything in an organized actual photo setup. So upload photos to Dropbox or transfer them via USB cable. Keep photos organized in their own folder on your PC or Mac. So this is huge. I just upload my photos to Dropbox and I download that folder every day, and then I transfer them to my computer, and that's about a 5 to 10 minute process, and the photos are done. You can use any USB cable, and it can happen even faster. So it's up to you what you want to use. Sometimes I have a lister that helps me, so that's why I upload them to Dropbox as well. So I know that's a pretty simple process, but you'd be surprised on how many people have a hard time getting the photos from their phone or camera to the computer. Keep it simple. Use Dropbox, use a USB cable, drag and drop, put them in a dedicated eBay photos folder on your desktop, delete what's in that folder for the next day, rinse and repeat. Number 4 is a huge one, but resetting back to zero. You never want to leave your workstation or your work day in a jumbled mess, and then the next day you walk into that. You want to reset it back, make sure everything is ready for the new day, to make sure everything is ready for photos, for listings for the next day. So make sure your work area is set up for the next day. Also a simple process, but that gets overlooked. You want to be able to start your workday on a positive note. Next one here is listings. So after the photo process, we're jumping onto the listings. This is all the process in which I do it in generally in the morning. So we do our photos, then we get on our listings. We have a listing station where photos are prepped and ready to be listed. Later in this masterclass, you will see what that looks like. But having, like a comfortable area where you can get your listings done. Number 2 is sell similar off the items in your store to maximize speed and efficiency. This is where you continue to niche down in categories where you've sold or have items in your eBay store, and you continue to source those items. So instead of creating a new listing every time, you can sell similar off of your own items in your store, and the only thing you're updating is maybe the color, the size, and maybe a few item specifics, and you're done in the photos. But that's going to really help you get faster in your listing process. That's just what I personally do. Everyone's different, but that's how I've been able to get fast at my listings. Number 3 is maintain proper title structure. So filling out as many item specifics that pertain to the item. People ask, how many should I fill out? Do I need to fill out all of them? You only need to fill out the ones that actually accurately describe the item you're listing. You need to maintain proper title structure. So eBay recommends brand, item, gender, size, followed with keywords. You want to make sure you do it in that pattern, in that way, to some extent. There are some bad titles on eBay, and people wonder why things don't sell. It's because the title structure isn't for the common buyer looking for the common item. So make sure you follow that structure to be able to get as much found in search as possible. The best chance to be found in search as possible. So number 4 is best offer. These are the things that are going to really spice up your listing. You don't have to do it, but this is what I recommend. If you want to go full time, this is what I recommend. Having best offer turned on. Having a flat rate shipping price. So between $6.95, $7.95 for everything under 1 pound that would be shipped USPS Ground Advantage, flat rate. Or you can have a $8.95 to $9.95 anything over 1 pound USPS Ground Advantage, flat rate. You don't want to use calculated shipping for clothing. That's really going to throw off your competitive advantage that you would get with flat rate shipping. Sometimes calculated shipping can be $20 to ship from here to New York for a pair of jeans. You don't want to do that. So that's why I say I recommend adding that to every listing. Number 5 is batch listings. So often overlooked is the thing like, I need to get listings up every day. Well, I'm only doing listings Monday through Friday because I'm doing more than I need. If I'm listing 20 a day, I'll do 25, 26 listings in a day so I can have weekends off. So you want to batch listings. You want to develop that draft bank to ensure you have future time off stored away. And you want to draft more than you need for the day. People get sick, things happen. And this is also going to help you maintain a healthy work life balance, even though I don't truly believe in 100% balance, but you want to be able to have some time off from doing listings. Doing them 7 days a week is incredibly difficult and you will eventually burn out. These are the things that we're trying to avoid when we're building our business. So if you're doing 10 listings a day and that's what's going live, do 12 listings a day, draft bank the extras. So number 6 is price buckets, and this is a little more in-depth topic we could get into later. But price buckets is basically as you list the same items, you would develop a price bucket system for these items, so you will not need to look each individual item and their price. So like things like American Eagle, Levi's, Columbia. I have price buckets for these items because I pick them up and I've sold them so many times that I'm not looking up each individual item unless it's something in particular and it has something special to do with it, like a down puffer coat from Columbia or an interchange Columbia coat. Specific items that are a little bit more special in that brand. But for generic items in that brand, I just have a price bucket system. So I know exactly, hey, generic modern Levi's, $24.95 to $29.95. Generic regular uh, Patagonia button up, 1995 to 24.95. That's kind of the price bucket system, and you will develop your own price bucket system as you niche down into what brands that are available to you and bread and butter stuff as well. So that's important, and don't stress out about looking up the price of every item. The next one is shipping. So just 4 blocks in this one, but they're all very important because if we mess up one detail in our shipping process, eBay is not going to be happy with you and the customer's not going to be happy with you. So it's important that we nail down this shipping process. So I have a shipping station with all my needed tools like my poly bags, the measuring tape, the scale, boxes, everything I need to get the job done. I don't want to be walking around looking for stuff that's going to add on more time to my shipping than needed. So make sure you have a actual shipping station set up for you to ship out items. You will see photos of my shipping station later in the masterclass. So number 2 is pull the orders in the correct manner to create a seamless shipping process. Like I stated, I ship out according to what comes in on eBay. So the order that comes in on eBay, I pull them in that order. That way, when I set up my bulk shipping labels, everything is in order by when they were ordered on eBay. So that way, it's just easy for me to just go down the line as I'm shipping the items out and weighing them and getting them ready. So weigh each item before printing the label to ensure accuracy. And this needs to be stated because you'd be surprised on how many people just eyeball it and guess. This is not good. You will get dinged an overcharge fee if you do not weigh your items correctly. It's always good to overweigh them too to avoid that charge. So number 4 is take monthly stock to ensure you have backup of products for shipping. This is things like a backup thermal label printer. If that goes out, that's not good, especially if you're shipping out 10, 20 items a day. You want to be able to have backup poly mailers, backup thermal label printer, thermal printer labels. You want to have backup poly bags, boxes, all these things, because if you run out, it's really going to be a pain to run out and go get that stuff. So you make sure you have backups of everything that you need to make sure you're ready, especially around quarter 4. Um, Accounting, this is one that should be taken seriously. Um, we want to track all the expenses for the business by adding it to a spreadsheet or a designated credit card for business purchases. That's what I have. I have a couple credit cards that get automatically paid off on the 28th day of each cycle. Um, that's what I would recommend. Having one credit card or a business account. So not only are you tracking your expenses, manually, but you just have them all on one card at the end of the year, you could deduct everything and just make sure that you're calculating it correctly, and it's all on one card. I think mixing personal and business is okay to start. Just make sure you start to treat it more like a business and get a business account, get a business card, and actually go with that. Because once you start mingling personal and business, it's just harder to track. It's not impossible. It's just harder to track your metrics. So those are the things that I do and I would recommend. Number two is a weekly or monthly accounting. So you don't need to do it after every single sale. You don't need to do it after every single purchase that you go out to the thrift store. Just make sure you keep up to it on a weekly or monthly basis. So you want to enter in those expenses to the spreadsheet on a weekly and monthly um, you know frequency. So number three is do not spend more than 50% of your monthly cash flow. This needs to be stated because so many people want to grow too fast and they end up running out of money. You don't want that. You want the business to grow nice and slow at its own pace and reinvest those profits and just keep growing it until you get it to a point to where you feel comfortable, to where you can start pulling more of that money out for personal or for savings or whatever you want to do. But just never spend more than 50% of your monthly cash flow. It's very important, especially when just starting out. The less that you could spend as you grow, the better, right? That's a well optimized store. So it's best to have a designated bank or credit card for expenses tracking. Keep them separate from personal. I needed to say that again because so many people commingle the finances, and then it's just really hard to figure out, I thought I was making money, but I guess I wasn't, or I was using money out of the business when I thought it was from something else. And that just ends up being a headache. I would just suggest go out, apply for a separate business account. It could be just a separate bank account. It doesn't even need to be a credit card. Just get a different debit card, put some money in it, and there you go. Just have it separate from personal. Number five is a huge one, and I could connect you guys with a really good one, but her name's Cheryl Miller with Simplified Accounting. But number five is hire a CPA who's familiar with reselling tax benefits to help you save money during tax time. Cheryl is a reseller, so she is familiar with all the tax deductions, everything to help you save some money, and it is so important that we track things on a spreadsheet and then have a CPA that's knowledgeable in what they're looking at so they can help save you some money. So that's huge. I'll refer to her in the resources. Number six is keep all physical receipts in a stored location. Enter in expenses at the end of the month into your spreadsheet. So I just keep all of my receipts in a big old file, and it's huge. Like I go out often, so just make sure you're keeping these receipts, just in case. You just want to have them just in case. And when I get the receipts for the day, if I'm going out, I immediately add them into my spreadsheet, and then at the end of the month, I calculate my cost of goods. So I divide what I spent by how many items I bought. So that's how I get that number. But everyone's different. That's just how I go about it. And then I store the receipts away. So you got to have that, got to have it organized. You never know what can happen during tax time. You want to have a little rabbit trail of what you bought. So customer service, a key. eBay's tracking everything. They're tracking response time. They're tracking how active you are on the platform. So being able to respond to these messages as soon as you can is really going to help. There's no like actual concrete evidence of eBay coming out and saying this, but if they're trying to provide the best customer experience and a customer asks a question and it takes 4 days for you to respond, I don't think that that's a great customer experience. You want to be on top of it and at least respond daily. You don't have to respond immediately after every message, just on a day-to-day basis, respond. So responding to customer questions. So eBay is tracking that response time. We know they are. Respond to all offers in a timely manner and send out offers to watchers as soon as they arrive. This is going to not only help with your sales, but it's also going to help with activity in your business. Doesn't mean you have to accept the offer. You could just counter back, even just declining, though I would recommend countering at least. So money back guarantee, offer free returns to give full faith into the products you're selling. customers can return items whether you offer returns or not. So if you make a mistake on an item and it's a stain and you don't offer returns, they can still return it. They will just it's called a forced return. So they will actually open an item not as described against you, and they will force the return, and it's going to hurt your metrics. So it's at least offer buyer pays for returns, but I would highly recommend free returns because it gives the full faith of your product to the customer. And the final key to this all is, and this is what's going to make the business go. Like, this is it right here. This is the sauce. This is how you elevate. This is how you get better. This is why I love the community we're building here at Profit First is research. We can all get better together. We are all better together. So we want that constant stream of information regarding all reselling. So this is things like podcasts, joining communities, learning from guides and Bolo brand lists. You want to be able to always be leveling up your knowledge and education and never stop. Always be refining their skills. Number two is being around other resellers you can learn from that are doing it on a higher level, whether you need a one-on-one mentor, you need to join a community. These are the things that are really going to help you get better. So number three is ask questions to constantly speed up the learning process. So many people are so shy and they don't want to ask their question because they would feel like they're stupid. You got to ask the question if you're wanting to get better. You got to ask it. Do not feel in fear or shy. That's how we can best help you, especially in the group. Number four is monthly check on Bolo Brand's sell-through rate so you can keep up with market trends. This is needed. You need to use TerraPeak as often as you can because there's such seasonality when it comes to clothing. You want to get familiar with when is the peak season for shorts, when is the peak season for jackets. You want to take some brands every now and then on a monthly basis and just type them into eBay to double check the market trends, because what sold well last year, Untuckit, Travis Matthew, these markets have shifted and have changed. And we need to really make sure we're on top of these brands. So we're not expecting to get $30 for a Travis Matthew polo when that was like, hey, buddy, that was last year. That ain't happening this year. So always keep up with market research and just be adding that knowledge to yourself. So number five is source for the upcoming season. So look into what to pick up for the next season. Right now, I'm picking up jackets. I'm picking up hoodies because the competition is low. My thrift stores are full of jackets and hoodies, sweaters, and I'm going all in on that. We're just a couple months away from the seasons changing. So I'm starting to pick those items up now, get them listed now in preparation for the cooler weather. So this is up to you because not a lot of people have a lot of space, but this is just something I would recommend getting into as having some foresight into the upcoming season so you could take advantage and start picking up the things that people aren't. So that are out of season. Number six is develop a brand list for your local area and have bread and butter brands that are foundational for you. This is your business. This is your bread and butter list. It's not because I can't find what you find and vice versa. Like, we all live in different parts of the country, and it's really important that you figure out what is available in your area. Maybe you live in Florida and it's a lot of silk and linen stuff. Maybe you live over here in the Pacific Northwest and it's a lot of jackets, Columbia and REI activewear. So you got to figure out, develop your brand list around that. And those are the brands that are going to pay the bills. So this is going to be a copy in the resources tab. You guys could build upon it if you'd like, but just have this. You could even print it out. And if you just hit every one of these as a system and process, it's going to be a great foundation for you to build your business. So inventory management systems. There's many inventory management systems, right? There's a bins location system. That's what I started with. So you probably are familiar with it, but you assign a static physical bin location, A1, A2, A3, A4, and these remain fixed. They don't move. So this is like for smaller products, not huge hard goods, good for clothing, something that turns over frequently so you don't get a ton of items in each bin and it's hard to find. Here's some benefits, pros and cons. So it's easy put away. it can be good and useful in underutilized space. So space that you have in your shop or your storage unit that's just not being used. Um, and you could replenish pretty easily. But it's harder to consolidate and condense. I found that after you have more than 10 items in each bin, it's just like, man, where is this item? You feel like you're a squirrel digging through it. So, what I would really suggest is something that you see very common, especially on YouTube, is a sequential SKU rack system. And that's what you see to the photo on the left here. Is you want to use racks or shelves, items that are stored sequentially based on a running SKU or inventory number. And these are ideal for high volume turnover and consistent influx of new SKUs, which is our whole goal. We want a high volume, high turnover rate in our business. So that's the type of system. Pulling orders is so easy because you know exactly where they are. So some pros and cons are it will maximize the use of space because you can consolidate the inventory. It's easy to restock, and you know your picking locations constantly shift when you consolidate, but you can get a good idea of where things are as you sell more product. Okay, now inventory management considerations. What does that look like? How does it look to store thousands of items in your eBay store? We're going to be going over that and how I personally store my items. We all start in different areas. I first started with the bin system, which was good to start, but once you start getting a couple hundred to 1,000 items, it gets to be a little out of hand. So using a bin system is fine to start, but if you're really serious about going full time, then I would invest into one shelf and boxes to get you started. So everything, like I've said before, is linked in the resources tab of the racks that I use, the boxes, the poly bags, and I've spent hours looking for the best prices possible to be able to, maximize the amount of money that I want to spend on racks. I think the racks go for about $90 off of Sam's Club, and they hold about 500 pounds per shelf. So those are the best bang for the buck. I know there's those Husky shelves that are a little bit more costly. You can go either route as either work, but here's kind of the best, things that I use. We'll be going over that. But space planning, it's really important to plan your space, work and maximize the space that you have. So you want to optimize your business around that layout for efficiency and keep it simple. So, cycle counting, regularly audit inventory because eBay can delist items. This is a crazy thing that actually happens once you get into having items that are over a year, over 2, over 3 years old. It's good once you're consolidating your inventory to just pull a couple orders, pull a couple SKUs, and look them up on your eBay store just to see if those items had been listed. Because, as you know, with eBay, there are sometimes buyers who cancel orders. And sometimes when those orders get canceled, they do not get relisted. So you always want to make sure that you do a self audit, not only on your overall business, but in your inventory in particular, because you may find that you have items that you thought were listed that actually haven't been listed, but are still in your inventory. And that could end up being a major problem as you continue to grow your business. So do that on a quarterly, monthly basis. And consolidation. So you want to consolidate on a monthly basis. I do mine every couple months. It really just depends on how often you're selling through your items. If you have 500 items listed and 500 items sold in 90 days, then you're going to need to consolidate. Um, if you're working with a minimal amount of space, you may need to consolidate more or less depending on the sell through rate of your store and the amount of space that you have. So that's going to vary, but you want to make sure you consolidate in that racking SKU system. Is the best because consolidation helps you maximize the space that you have versus like a bin system where you're not consolidating as all at all. So okay, so here is a picture of my photo setup. It's very simple. I use the newer NL660 bicolored lights. You can see I have 4 of them, and I have them about 2 feet behind my photo board, which is a 5-foot wide and 6-foot tall board on a piece of plywood. You need to remember that you need to be maximizing what you have. You don't need to go and spend thousands of dollars on a photo setup. Just use what you have. better than taking photos of the items on the bathroom floor. Just use what you have. If you have a blanket, this is just a cotton off-white tan blanket, use it. And that's what I've been using for 3.5 years now in my business. Very simple, very basic. That gets the job done. So let's go into it a little bit more. There's two different types of setups that I could recommend. The flat lay setup, though I will tell you, I tried this for a couple months and my back was an excruciating pain. This may be better for those younger generation, but me, I'm 35. I'm really conscious of my posture, my back now, and not trying to throw out my back or be in any more pain than I need to. So lay setup's good to start, and I just noticed that I was needing to move around for measurements more and more, and I just it killed me. Maybe different for others, but this is basically just where just how it sounds. You're laying your clothing on a flat background. It gives a consistent, clean lifestyle look. You can do it on your clear space on your carpet, on a nice wooded area for a nice backdrop. This works well for small items, not like heavy coats or dresses. It's just not going to work that well. So the smaller items you could get away with. It requires some type of lighting, and you particularly want more cool lighting. So not warm yellow lighting, because it's just going to bleed into the colors and throw off the look of your item. So getting a cool lit light bulb or anything like that's going to help actually make the color stand out. So you want an overhead mounted camera. You don't necessarily need that. Like I said, just using your cell phone is good to start. And what you could do, if your background looks terrible, they have that auto remove background feature. That's not perfect on eBay, but you could give it a try. If you use like a cross listing software like Vendu, they have a better software that removes the background for a white background, which really helps your items stick out and pop, but it's not needed if you actually have just an off-white blanket that you use as a backdrop. So a vertical flat lay, that's what I would recommend. This helps your back greatly. This positions products vertically right in front of you in a seamless background. This is better suited for clothing as it saves your back and helps you with speed. It requires more space for a backdrop, a stand, and lighting rigs around the products. Careful consideration of camera height, angle, and product styling is important. If you're wanting to go full time, I would recommend investing into a simple setup like this. For under $100, you could get a plywood, a blanket from Walmart, and you can get some lights off of Amazon with the big light boxes, and you have a great photo setup, and you could rock and roll with that for years to come. I only used the LED lights here that are pictured because I didn't want the big bulky light boxes taking up a ton of space. So everyone's different. That's just what I chose. And you should be able to do something simple like that. You also, side note, you want everything close by. You can see I have my lint roller there. I have my scissors. I have a fabric shaver right behind here. I have my yardstick. I have hangers. Everything is close by, ready to go. So you want that close by because you don't want to be running around for every single item when you need to lint roll an item or fabric shave. You want everything in one station. So touching on the photography equipment, it's nothing fancy. You can get everything done with a cell phone. So this just does not sound as expensive as you think. I just bought a pre-owned Samsung Galaxy S22, $400 pre-owned on Amazon, and it works well. So I take all my photos on auto, and it can get me the best results at the speed that I want. I found it took too long to use the pro mode, as the color balance would shift depending on the color of the garment. And if you're new at this, you probably don't really even know what I'm talking about, but just try it. If you're trying to take photos for the first time, try it on pro mode, and you're going to see that the color shifts all the time, and you're needing to edit the ISO, the exposure for every single item, and your photo process is going to take 2 to 3 times as long. I'm all about speed and efficiency, so I found that the auto mode got me the best results for the speed. And I've sold 19,000 items on eBay, and of the questions that I get for the color are so few and far between. As long as you could get it as accurate as possible, that's going to be the best for you, because everyone tries to struggle with, oh, the photos don't look exactly the same. It's okay. You're selling pre-owned. Most of us are selling pre-owned clothing, and you're not taking product photography for the actual brand. So just make sure you get it as close as you can. And that's why I suggest, Samsung Galaxy S22, S21. I started with an S10, and that even worked as well. So you can go back years ago, and those phones worked well on auto. So I would just double check. Maybe pro mode works for you. It just didn't for me, for the amount of time it took to make all those adjustments for each item. So you want to emphasize photo styling and consistency. So you want to be able to be as consistent in your photos as possible, like making sure there's nothing poking out from the sides. You want to have everything cropped in frame that looks good. The first thing that the person sees is the photo. So you want to make sure it looks good. You don't want it to be perfect. You want to make it as perfect as possible, but you want to make sure everything's in frame, cropped, looks good, look crisp, not blurry. That's the key. So all the listings in your store should have the same look, multiple clear images showing products from various angles, and any defects. You need to make sure, if you find a defect, you just point it out. You point to it in the photo. You also describe it in the condition description, and also put it in the item description as well. You want full transparency. If you don't like the defect, don't list the item. But there are times when we go out sourcing, we don't find every hole and stain. And if it doesn't come out and you can't repair the item, just make sure you point out the defect, so you're not selling items that are going item not as described. That's a terrible way to ruin your account health. And what we're teaching here is, you're going to be a top rated seller. You want to be known for selling good product. You don't want to intentionally sell items that have problems with the zipper, missing a button. You don't want to do that. So you want to be able to point out any defects to be able to maintain your account health. There's a lot of problems that end up occurring when your account has a hard time with those item not as described. You end up paying more in fees. You get slower traffic. You don't want to be there. So camera and lighting. So just get a simple cell phone. You may even use the one that you have now. That will do the job with a lanyard. Keeping the phone around your neck will increase the speed of photos. That is a huge one for me. When I first started, I was taking the photos, and then I was having to put the phone down, move the item, and then pick up the phone. I don't want to do that. So just make sure that you are getting some type of lanyard. Some people even like wear a Velcro vest and just Velcro the phone onto them. That works too. Just make sure you have it close to you so you could take photos in a quick and easy manner. Editing software, not needed. Some people choose to cut out the background with eBay's background removal tool. That's good. If your background looks terrible, I would definitely suggest doing that, as it makes your item pop and stick out a bit more. So I use a simple off-white cotton blanket. This helps items from slipping off my backdrop. Light gray works well for color balance. My backdrop is at a 90-degree angle, so nothing slips off because I have a cotton backdrop. The only things I would say that slip off are like more of that performance stuff that's polyester, spandex, and nylon, but even then it does a good job of sticking on there. So you want to make sure you're using something like felt, Sherpa, or cotton so it can actually hold. And you want to make sure the angle you place your board at isn't too steep so items just fall off. That can be annoying. So make sure that you're setting that up for success, for speed and consistency. So setting up a shipping station, I know this doesn't look too crazy, but I've shipped over thousands of items just with this little setup here. You can see I have my laptop, my thermal printer, my tape dispenser, my scale, my box for packing the orders that I pull them in, and then my poly bags, my tape, scissors, measuring tape. Everything I need is here. I very rarely use boxes. I will for like bulk orders, but it's pretty rare. I have 12 by 16 by 8 boxes here that I get from eBay with my store subscription coupon. But you're going to want to set up similar to this, something where it's efficient, easy. You almost want a separate laptop or something where you could just have stationed there for your orders and printing your labels. This is what I call, for me, maximizing my efficiency and space. So, setting up a shipping station, you want to have an organized, efficient shipping workspace. This is vital for processing and sending orders quickly. Recommended elements are work tables. You want a dedicated flat surface for actually packing the order, staging the orders before the shipment. So, enough space for your sorting and assembly. I use this blank clear space here for all of packing the item in the poly bag and putting it in these tubs here ready for pickup. Very simple. Storage and supplies. So shelving for shipping supplies, boxes, mailers, poly bags, bubble wrap, etc., organized by size for easy grabbing. This is the greatest part of shipping clothing is that you're only probably going to use poly bags, and boxes here and there. I use a 12 by 15 poly bag, and then I use like a 15 by 18 bag for huge jackets, huge items, and sometimes shoes. And then I use boxes for everything else. So keep it simple. That's the benefit of selling clothing is you aren't too crazy on your shipping. If you're selling hard goods, you need bubble wrap, you need different boxes, you need a bunch more that goes into that. Scales and printers. So you want an accurate scale for weighing and a thermal printer synced to eBay for quickly printing labels. So I have a roller printer. You don't need that. This costs like $200. You could just go buy a knockoff brand for 50, $60 and it does the same thing. You also probably might want to buy two because you don't ever want this to break and then have to wait 7 days to get the new thermal printer. And then I buy my labels off Amazon. So that's how I go about that. Simple. And then my scale is just a real simple scale. After you've shipped thousands of items, you're going to know, oh, that weighs less than a pound. Oh, that weighs more than a pound. You're going to get familiar with the weights, but it's always good to have when you're just starting out to double check the weights of items. So, shipping carriers. So, you want to determine which carrier service to use based on the product, speed, and the cost to certain zones. I use USPS Ground Advantage on 99% of my shipping for clothing and shoes. It's the cheapest and it's the fastest for the price. I highly recommend shipping that way. And ever since they made the change from first class to Ground Advantage, I can ship everything Ground Advantage and pay a lot less than when I was shipping things that were more than a pound that had to be shipped USPS priority. So USPS Ground Advantage allows us to make a little bit of money on the shipping and the customer gets their item in a reasonable amount of time. So optimizing the shipping process. This is important because shipping, if we don't optimize the process, we're not going to have a fun time shipping. We want to make this a fun and exciting experience. We want to have enjoyment when we ship these orders out. That means you're getting paid. So postage funding, I charge a flat rate of $6.95 for all my items under 1 pound and $8.95 for items over 1 pound. I make about $1,500, $1,000 to $1,500 per month in shipping, depending on business. Make sure your shipping is competitive. So you want to make sure you're charging the right amount of shipping and not too much. And you also don't want to undercut yourself and charge too less. You want to charge a competitive rate. Anything between $6.95 and $9.95 for shirts, jeans, jackets is generally the going rate. For big cowboy boots, big huge jackets, you could charge $14.95, and that's what I do for like huge trench coats and things like that. So just adjust accordingly. And there's also the option for free shipping. Like a lot of the new shoes I've been picking up, most of the sellers on those listings are charging free shipping. So I would probably want to charge free shipping or charge $10 less on the overall price and actually charge shipping. So just make sure you're remaining competitive and aware of shipping prices. Because this is what the sellers look or the buyers look at the most. They're making sure, oh, well, they're looking at the total amount of the sale, not just the amount for the item. They want to know the total. So that's going to be shipping, right? They're going to look at the shipping price. So order workflow. You want to organize a workflow for packing and processing orders. You want to have staging areas for received orders, packing stations, stage for your SKU labeling system to avoid errors. I go by the SKU in which the order came in on eBay. I know I've said that multiple times, but it is very important that you don't miss or skip as the orders come in because one missed order and you could mess up all of the other orders without paying attention. So you make sure that you double check the SKU that's in your hand to the corresponding SKU that's on your order page. Double check it, triple check it, and just make sure it's the correct and right order. I've caught myself a few times that if I didn't double check that, I would have messed up the whole shipping for the day. And that can cause a huge headache in your business. So, backup plans. Have backup contingency plans for printers, carriers in case of malfunctioning or outages. This is key. Have a backup printer, labels, polybags, and that's the worst thing is to run out. I even have backup internet. I live in the middle of nowhere. I have Starlink, but every now and then, once or twice or three times a year, it goes out. So I ordered another Starlink. So when that happens, if that happens, I have another backup option if needed. So it's so important to be aware of this. Have a mobile hotspot, whatever it takes. You don't want to be left behind when power goes out and things happen. Though also eBay is more real than Amazon. Like they will actually work with you if there's a snowstorm or something happens and you just state your case, they will work with you. So create an efficient listing station. You can see here, this is just a simple standing desk and I have my listing station. I have all my items piled to the left of me and I assign the SKU after they are listed and taken photographs of, and then they go into these vertical boxes here and into my vertical. They go into my long boxes here, which are 8 by 8 by 32, and then they get stored away in my inventory system. So you want to make sure you have an efficient listing station. This is where you're going to be spending the most amount of time when you are starting out, and you don't want to be hunched over like looking at your phone, or you want to have a nice straight back to do these listings. I know it sounds almost stupid, right? Like, what are you talking about? But I know over time and year over year, you're eventually back and neck is going to hurt. And you just want to make sure you have a good system for doing the listings. This is just what's helped me. I have a pad on the bottom of on the floor where it's a cushion where I can stand and do these listings as well. Um, so have a computer, have a PC, have a laptop. Ideally, dual monitors is the best, but you don't need it to start. And I'll go into reason why. Because you want to have um, another screen for almost product research or another screen for having your photos on so you can cross reference. So having dual monitors will just make it go a little bit faster, but it's not necessary. I would say, like, if you're doing more than 20 listings a day, then is when you could probably think about getting another monitor just to be able to have that extra monitor for product research or anything that might happen. It will help with speed, right? We're trying to optimize for speed, get fast. So sit stand desks are optional, but this has helped me with my back issues from sitting at the computer every day, helps maintain proper posture when listing. And nowadays you can find these for $100, $120 on Amazon. And that would be just a great investment in your business. Also a tax write-off. So, right after the photos are taken, the listing process begins. I then assign SKU and bag up the item to put in my inventory. And this is key. You always want to reset back to zero the following work day. You got to have that workflow. You can't have hiccups in that workflow because it's just going to be harder. When you're starting and stopping and starting and stopping any of these processes, it's so hard to get going. I say just get it all done and be done with the day. Don't leave it for later in the day. It's just, for me and my experience, it's just harder. We want to make this easy, right? So listings will take you up to 5 minutes to complete when you first start. But as long as you are niche down and sell similar off your own items, your eBay store, the listing for your sell similar off your own items in your eBay store, not other people's listings, the listing process should get down to 1 to 2 minutes per listing or less. So selling similar off your store is a huge key and a huge unlock for a lot of beginners, because as you start to get 100, 200, 300 items of the same brands, of the same jeans, button-up shirts, women's tops, jackets, it's so much easier to do 50% of a listing than creating a new listing. And all you're doing is updating the size, maybe the color, maybe if there's a defect or two. That's it. And then you're done. It's awesome. So, listing station ergonomics. What is that? So you want to ensure the listing area is comfortable for long work periods with good posture and accessible storage for all gear. Ergonomic setup, you don't want any strain or fatigue. That's what I was talking about. An anti-fatigue mat. That's going to help you from standing all day. I even have purchased On Clouds super comfortable shoes for standing um, for long periods of time. This makes the difference. Organized storage, so keep tools within reach. Proper lighting to reduce eye strain, and an adjustable desk, like I had mentioned. Once I made that investment into a sit stand desk, listings were not as bad as they used to be. um, so, tracking key metrics. These are some metrics that are super important that we need to be tracking to ensure our business is growing and actually making progress. So, we want to track the cost of goods sold. We want to make sure we're tracking all sourcing expenses, product costs, and selling fees to calculate the true costs against our sales revenue. We want to make sure, are we making more each month or are we making less each month? These are going to be huge indicators in your progress as a reseller, especially early on. This is why you never want to be spending too much of the money on product, and make sure you're growing nice and slow at your own pace. So make sure that you track your cost of goods sold and all other expenses for the month, and then compare that to your net income at the end of the month. So, sales performance, monitoring key metrics like number of orders, sell through rates, average selling prices, returns percentage, and other KPIs, analyzing by product category and source. So, I monitor like things like my return rate. My return rate averages between 2.5 to 5%. And for pre owned clothing, that is kind of where you want to be. If you're up on that 2.5% for pre owned clothing, you're doing great. If you're as high as 5 or more, you need to kind of probably fix some processes there. So in between that, that's going to give you a good indication that, hey, we're on par for the majority of what people average for returns. Um, you want to track in which your average sale price is going up or down, and you just want to track all these KPIs to really see how your business is doing over time. So, profitability, combining cost of goods, sales, and all other overhead expenses like payroll. Maybe you're paying a VA, maybe you're paying a photographer, a shipper. You want to be able to calculate all those by the time period, month over month. Just make sure that you're profitable. It's really surprising that sellers really just don't know what's the average profit per item. How are you growing month over month? What is your average sales price? Like these common questions, you got to know them. You got to know those numbers. um, so just make sure that you're aware and you're familiar and getting familiar with like the traffic tab, the sales tab under your performance. You want to make sure that you're tracking these things. It is key because I think a lot of people get fear of like they don't want to track the numbers in fear of like they're doing bad. But you got to do this so you can correct and catch those errors early. Accounting and bookkeeping, another metric we've gone over, but we want to utilize a thing like a spreadsheet to be able to track all those so we know if our business is doing good or bad. These are going to be huge red flags if we're not tracking that. And also, marketing and advertising, things like promoted listings. So, tracking all the costs in addition to that. So, you want to track all those costs and attributing revenue generated for ROI analysis and optimization. Make sure you're promoting at a rate to still be profitable. So you want to use the eBay fee calculator. You want to bookmark that, and you want to know what's the least amount of money that I need to sell an item for to still be profitable. And you want to be able to figure out what can I promote out to still be profitable as well. And yeah, you can still sell items without promoting, but I really think it's pay to play nowadays. And yeah, at least got to be promoting at some percentage to stay competitive. Remember that people aren't going to page 40 on eBay to look for a pair of Levi's jeans. The ones that are going to be on page 1, 2, and 3, the first few pages are the people that are promoting the pay to play. So, for example, I spend, thousands of dollars a year in promoted listings, but that $1,000 I spend makes me, it's like a 4x return. So you want to be able to be aware of promotion and make sure you're promoting at a competitive rate. So here is the Seller Hub Performance Sales page. This is key. You really need to get familiar with it. You want to know what's your total sales, how many you're selling, what's your average sales price, and what selling costs you're paying. Be aware of your selling costs. The higher your selling costs, meaning if you're in the 55 to 60% range, means you're selling a lot of items that aren't selling for a huge average sale price. If you're more towards like a 30%, 25% selling cost, that means you're selling items at a much higher average sale price and you're knocking it out of the park. So great job. I average between 40 and 50% selling costs. And you really want to just make sure that you're not giving all your money away to eBay, because the selling cost includes promoted fees, your shipping labels, and any other eBay fees that go into that. So you're a healthy range between 30 and 50%. I think once you get above 50, 55, 60%, you need to figure out, maybe I need to start either bringing in better product, or I need to start promoting less, or start charging more for your product if it commands it. So those are the things to be aware of. We could deep dive in this sales page on a whole masterclass, but we won't do that. I just say get familiar with this page and what the numbers mean. So just want to play this quick video about the spreadsheet. I think it's important and can be helpful for a lot of people. All right. So this is a very simple spreadsheet I have available to the community, and it's 100% free. And it's really important for a lot of beginners out there to start tracking their numbers, but it doesn't sound as crazy as it has to be. You don't have to track every single transaction. You don't have to account for every single item you buy, though maybe it's good for your first 5 to 10 items. But after that, what I do personally is at the end of every month, I add up how much I spent and how much of that, and I divide it, how much inventory I bought, and then I divide the two to figure out my cost of goods. So you're able to try that type of method. You don't have to be as crazy as as it sounds, like tracking every single little thing, because then you're going to spend so much time tracking all these details that really don't matter. You're really just trying to figure out how much I'm making each month and how much I'm spending each month, and make sure you're not spending more than you're earning, which is a basic principle. So this simple spreadsheet you could find in the group, very easy to access, and I highly recommend that people just get started using it if you're not using anything. So very simple instructions here, just read them. You're going to have to make a copy for yourself, as this is a Google document, and you're basically just going to track your inventory. You can go line by line accounting, or you could just do month by month, which is what I do. So you can track for January, February, March. You can see all the tabs here at the bottom, and then it's going to give you a good idea of how much you're making and then your year to date sales per month. Everything is all tracked in the spreadsheet. It's a good foundation to have as you continue to grow your business, and better than having pen and paper, and then better than having nothing. So highly recommend you download it and just get started. All right. Like I said, free in the group under the resources tab. Get familiar with it. It has all the instructions for what you need to do and how you need to go about setting that up. Better than having nothing. So, analyzing the numbers. How do we look at the numbers? How do we tell if our business is doing good? How can we tell if we need to make some changes? This is so important, guys. We need to figure out what metrics to pay attention to make sure that our business is actually doing well. So, the key is tracking granular performance data, regularly analyzing these numbers, and using those insights to guide inventory sourcing, process improvements, and overall strategy. Consider dashboard tools for visualizations. I'm a visual learner. I'm not a spreadsheet guy, like looking at the numbers. I need to have some color and some graphs to be able to know what I'm looking at. And that's just me. So, all the data you really need to pay attention to are in your sales tab and your traffic tab. You want to make sure that you get familiar with it and know what you're looking at. Also, a good tab just to check in on is your payouts tab. Just check, are your payouts going up or are they going down? And just check on a monthly basis. So, sourcing insights, we want to use data to identify top selling products and categories to focus our sourcing efforts on. So, we want to focus on major things that are trending right now and not be picking up things that were trending 10 years ago. This sounds like an obvious thing, but you'd be surprised on how many people still pick up things especially in clothing, that no one's going to buy. So I often check my sales conversion rate to ensure I'm picking up in demand items. If you are picking up items in demand and you're doing the upfront work of checking sell through rates, your conversion rate should either remain steady or go up. That means you're picking up items that are being purchased either organically or promoted at a faster rate. So you want to track your conversion rate. Process optimization, you want to analyze metrics to pinpoint bottlenecks and areas for streamlining processes. So if you find your traffic going down month over month, it means your items you're listing do not have any demand. There's something going on there, and there's probably more to it. You can also check your service metrics or your late shipments. Maybe you got a defect, but generally, if you didn't get any of those, you're going to want to make sure, what type of items have I been listing in the last month? Maybe that's contributing to my traffic going down because naturally these items aren't in demand. Strategic decisions. So you want to make informed decisions on growth, scaling, new initiatives based on comprehensive data. Your traffic tab will tell you everything you need to know about the quality of your listing. So what I check is my organic impressions. We'll get to it on the next slide. But visualization tools, you want to leverage dashboards and reporting tools to easily monitor KPIs and spot trends. So things even like Terapeak, that's a great tool to use. If you are finding your organic impressions are increasing, it means you're listing items that are naturally in demand without promotions. So what I was talking about is your organic impressions. So let's not talk about promoted. Let's exclude that. Organic. So are your organic impressions going up or are they going down? You shouldn't need to promote an item if you're listing items that are already naturally in demand. So checking your organic impressions is going to give you a good indication of whether or not my items are in demand naturally and should I keep picking up and finding those items. I often don't even promote items that have over 100% sell through rate, at least for the first month or two, because you're basically just giving eBay money for nothing. Because if these items already have 100% sell through rate, why are we even promoting them if they're already naturally in demand? So, something to be aware of as you continue to grow your business. KPI, what is that? That might be a new term for you, but it's a very important term for business, and it's something we need to apply in our resale business to be able to monitor performance. So a KPI I used to track was inventory. So I would calculate how many thrift stores I would go to in a given week, and I would correlate that with how many items I would be able to source by the end of the week. So I simply found that by going to more thrift stores per week, I was able to source far more items that met my metrics. That's a no-brainer. You're like, Bo, I already know that. That's common sense. But you'd still be surprised on how many messages I get with people going, I still can't find items. I can't find anything good. And then I ask them, how many thrift stores are you going to? And they reply with one, two. That's just not going to do it. If you're doing that on a weekly basis, that's just not going to work. There are other resellers that go to 15 thrift stores a day. So you really got to ramp up the input if you expect the output. And that's why sourcing is the lifeblood of your resale business. You need to figure out your sourcing route, figure out what thrift stores are open during certain times of days, what are their discount days, and build your schedule in your business around that. So going out more times a week, if you're having the problem of not finding enough good items or you're just not finding enough items in general, try tripling, 10xing the amount of times you go out for a week and then report back to me and see. I want to see how you did. I know once I did that, it made all the difference. I used to go out a couple times a week. Now I go out 10 times a week and I'm able to find so much better items. I know this sounds like a simple concept, but I get the question often that people can't find any good items. This is very much has to do with the amount of time you're spending sourcing. So sourcing for me takes generally about 60 to 70% of my weekly workload. If you're able to track this metric when you start, you will be able to find how many thrift stores you need to go to in a given week to be able to sustainably source a certain amount of items. So I need to source 140 items every week. And this comes out to about 7 to 10 thrift stores I need to go to on a weekly basis. And this will vary depending on location. So everyone's business looks different, but I know when you're just getting started and you're listing 5, 10 items a day and you're just listing okay items, don't settle for that. Put more effort into the sourcing and you're going to come out with far better items that you're proud to list that are actually in demand. I just highly recommend doing that and just double down on your sourcing efforts and just making sure you're picking up items that meet your metrics. Don't just pick up items just to get the listing goal done. That's the worst. So, repetition. I know a lot of these basic principles, and mastering the basics just really comes down to doing them over and over and over again to get better. So many people quit at this point. So you don't want to quit. You want to just work on repeating the process. So once you begin to find the systems and processes that work for you, then it is time to master those processes through repetition. This is how you increase speed and efficiency. You will be painfully slow when you just start out. You should have seen me when I was first listing items. I was very slow, frustrated, and I just thought long term, like, I can't see myself doing this because it takes me so long. And then after about 6 months to a year of listing thousands of items, I got much faster. The speed comes from doing it over and over again. Once you master that process, you can start to document that standard operating procedure and either use it to train an employee if that's what you choose. You can scale this business as large as you want with clothing, and 92 million metric tons of clothing go into landfills every year just in the US. So don't tell me that you can't find items because there's tons. You just probably aren't looking hard enough. So you can achieve a full six-figure reselling business by yourself, or you can even consider a seven-figure business with the help of training up employees with your SOPs to get the desired result you're wanting to achieve. So remember that the secondhand clothing market is supposed to triple by 2023. You saw the data in the infographic at the start of this done by ThreadUp. We're still early. You can build a business to far exceed the average median income in America. You can do it. Here's the top 10 takeaways from that report that should give you a vote of confidence to really jump into this business and go all in. So, the secondhand global, the secondhand is a global phenomenon. Sorry. The global secondhand apparel market is set to reach 350 billion by 2028, and the US market is expected to reach 73 billion. Amazing. Resale is driving secondhand growth. So in 2023, resale grew 15 times faster than the broader retail clothing market. And online resale saw an accelerated growth at 23% year over year. Secondhand makes up significant portion of closets. 2 in 5 apparel items purchased in 2023 were secondhand. That's amazing. So number 4 is shopping. Shoppers gravitate towards buying secondhand online. So 63% of consumers who bought secondhand in 2023 made a purchase online. This is up 17 points from 2022. So resale thrives in a value-seeking environment. 60% of consumers say shopping secondhand apparel gives them the most bang for their buck. And guess who is doing the most of the shopping is the generation that's like 18 to 24. What do they call it? Generation Z, Generation X. I don't know. But that's the largest demographic in the world, and they are trending towards buying more and more secondhand goods. So this is a good sign. So number 6 is consumers resell apparel to earn extra money. Just like you watching this masterclass, as you're wanting to make some extra money. Maybe you're a consumer that wants to get into this and start being a business owner. It says 69% of consumers who resold apparel in 2023 did it to make extra money. And almost 50% of them use that cash to pay for essentials like food and bills. Another thing too, which we're seeing a common trend, is branded resale. So you're seeing buyback programs like with Levi's, Patagonia. This is they're getting into that because they're seeing the money move into it. So, branded resale saw continued momentum in 2023 with a 31% year over year growth. 163 brands now have resale shops. New entrants in 2023 were J. Crew, American Eagle, and Kate Spade. So there's a full list of those brands in the entire PDF that I'll link in the resources, but it's pretty crazy. That's why there's a Vero program on eBay, because some brands do not want you to sell their used clothing. So this is something to be aware about. It's happening. Should it stop you? No. But it should just tell you that if other big brands like American Eagle, Kate Spade, and J. Crew are moving in, that means that there's an opportunity here. So retailers leverage resale as a gateway to new shoppers. 38% of consumers say they shop secondhand to afford higher end brands. So this is up 11 points from 2022. That's amazing. So, and that's what we can offer to that consumer, is that if we source good product, we could give it to them at a great deal. So resale boosts circularity and drives revenue. 87% of brands who offer resale say it's advanced sustainability goals. 67% say resale will generate a meaningful revenue stream for the company within 5 years. Voters say they favor candidates who support circularity. So the green movement is very real. We've known about it for the last few years. The whole sustainability movement, like I said before, 92 million tons of clothing gets thrown away in the US. So there's many more growth in this sector, and let's be part of it. That's why the whole point of this masterclass is to help you take advantage of what's to come. This is a growing sector. This is a growing part of the market. And if you want to be your own boss and make and build a business, this is the time. It's not saturated. It's not too late. The business is growing. eBay, whether it's on eBay, on Amazon, on whatnot, it doesn't matter. The secondhand market in general is seeing huge growth. So our reselling journey looks different, and we're all in different positions. You're probably watching this and you might just want to do this on a part-time level. Maybe you just want to do this as your side hustle. Well, there's many principles that you could still apply here to take advantage. So make sure you have a successful resale business. So everyone's part of a journey in some way or another, and we're all different. So it's why we need to make sure that we're not comparing ourselves to other people other than just comparing ourselves to ourselves, making sure that we're making constant improvements in our business. So no matter where you are right now, it really all comes down to up to you. And whether you want to take this information that we've learned today and to either turn it into a side hustle or a full-fledged business, I'm here to help you with that and to help you along your journey. If you want more one-on-one guidance, I'm offering a free 15-minute call that you can have within the group, and we can see if you're a good fit for the program Profit First Premium, where I can work with you one-on-one and actually help you put some of these processes in place. You can find it in the group on the right-hand side, where you can just book a free call with me, and I'd love to help you hit your goals. I know that if you're able to just put some of these principles in place, you're going to be on the path to success. And like I said, we're all in different parts of our journey, and I wanted to be able to give away as much information as possible without taking too much of your time, to be able to equip you with those tools that really helped impact me in my business. So I want to be able to put more of these together, more courses, more master classes. This is basically just an introduction, guys. Like, this is not, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I could have gone much deeper on all of these topics individually, but I don't want to take up the whole 24 hours in a day. I want to be able to just give you small pieces at a time so you can digest them and apply them and don't get an information overload. So more courses to come out in the group, more master classes that are going to be coming out that are actually going to deep dive a lot of the other things that we talked about, like KPI tracking, SOPs, inventory management, shipping management, all of the things that we covered. And I want to be able to just give it away all for free. So I love y'all that stuck around to the end, and what you could do for me, if you could just please share this with anyone that may want to get into starting their own business, share it in Facebook groups, share it on Instagram, like whatever you need to do. And tell me your takeaways. What are the things that maybe stuck out to you the most that you might not be applying? And what are some feedback that you think that could have been more useful in this? I want to know. I want to create that communication with you. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next course. Take care.